Hello everyone. So we are beside the house. This is our house here. And about a year ago, some bees moved into the side of our house. There's bees coming and going from the wall. I thought they would die out in the winter because it was a very cold winter. But I guess our house stayed warm enough. They stayed and liked it. We will be removing them today. Today is the day that the bees come out of the wall and we seal it up. And fortunately, they have not been getting to the inside of the house. They've just been in the wall. These haven't been bugging anyone. So we'll be removing them and moving them about 2 miles or more away so that they can reorient to a different location. Someone asked me, why don't you move them? You know, it was like January. Why don't you get them out of the wall? Just go ahead and move them. Well, in January, it's too cold for them to set up a brand new hive and to do well. The hive will die just because of the stress of the move. So that's why we've waited until it's basically spring right now. It's the beginning of spring. It's a great time to set up a new hive. And so that's what we'll do today. Right up in here, kind of up in that corner there. So above the window slightly to the left as we're looking at it now. So they're going in and then they're going up in between the ceiling of this room and the floor of the upstairs. So I have to remove the floor upstairs, which is probably what the combs are hanging on, but I would prefer to fix inside a closet than to break a ceiling apart. It would be a big mess. So we're not going to remove this. We're going to go from above down. It'll be harder to catch the combs because we'll be removing the floor they're hanging from. But that's the method we're going to use for this particular project. Now, cutouts generally take me 7 hours. I do not have 7 hours today. I've got about 5, maybe 4. So we're hoping this will go very quickly. If it doesn't, my son gets to hang out downstairs tonight with the bees flying around in his room. So we'll find out how this goes. So I've already cleared out the closet. I use this handy dandy little heat sensor, and the heat sensor indicates that there's warmth through here. But this, I believe, is a joist underneath, and I believe they are not beyond this joist. So it's going to be here over, and there's probably a gap behind this wall. The wall above is actually cold, so they're probably not up in the wall, but I'll have to remove the wall to get the floor out. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the equipment that we're using today for this cutout. We are starting with our vacuum. We have a shop vac, a pretty big one, and the hose from the shop vac, suctioning, we're going to go into the top of this bee vac. It goes in there like that. And that creates suction inside the box. This lid actually is removable, and there's a full hive, 10 frame hive underneath, which is screwed together in this contraption. It has an angled board across the bottom, which the bees come in this bottom box. It's like a medium. And then they hit that slanted board so it doesn't hurt them as bad. And then they're drawn up through the frames, which gives them something to grab before they hit a screen. Queen excluder behind it just to hold it in place. All this is screwed together and sealed up. Aside from that, I also have some frames. These are kind of ugly, but they work. You use wire, and you can cut parts of the comb out, put them in these frames, if the comb is big enough for that. So I have a box here. This is a 5 frame deep box. And this is my standard, nucleus colony for, it's half of a regular deep. Anyway, the reason I have that is because if we get some very sizable combs and can use those frames, I'll put those combs from the hive into this box, and then I will put the box just outside of where they're going in the wall, seal up the wall, and that box will be right there, and they will smell the queen in there and go in, hopefully. That's another option. One option is just to bee vac every bee you can get into the box and then move it somewhere else and set them up as a colony. Along with the bee vac, the vacuum, the bee vac, and a backup hive and backup frames, we also have our regular working tools. So you'll see I've got a circular saw, I've got a Sawzall hammer and a chisel. So I got my crowbar. I've also got a drill in case I need it or for putting it back together. My work gloves, some screws. We also have our standard beekeeping tools like my suit downstairs. I've got my smoker. We won't be using it inside, but outside. Got my screen for closing up my box, whichever one I end up using. And then just standard, you know, smoker, lighter, and hive tool and such. I just like to have everything that I normally have on my bee work present when I'm doing this kind of work. It's very stressful. It's kind of hard to work up to doing this because it takes so long, and the bees can get very aggressive because you're literally ripping their hive apart. It's not like movable frames where everything comes apart fairly easily. Generally, it's pretty ugly or can get ugly, especially if the combs are not, you know, if they're across the board you're taking out sideways, then the comb rips in half. It can get bad. So you always want to be ready, face the, you know, hopefully it goes well, and maybe it won't. We'll see. Oh, there we go. All right. Hello, bees. Hello, bees. Coming to visit. How we doing today? How you guys doing, huh? Woohoo! So we'll leave the smoke out here. Leave the smoke in the yard where it's safe. Now we go inside for the exciting work. Cutting things. not sure how deep it goes, but it's attached down beside that. Anyway, there's a lot of hive here, and that's the point. For reference, there's my hand. It's a good sized hive, bigger than I thought. Alright, just for a moment, we're pausing. Here's what it looks like in the hole. Very clear. Everything's out. Honey's here. And over there. It's all spread around. Camera. The vacuum was running up until just a second ago. We do have a bunch in the windows. There's a clump there. But not too many. So we will try to clean up the clumps in the windows and then we will leave. So I've got the bees. There's some brood on, it's actually 3 frames here. And then there's a bunch of bees in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this out first. Then we'll add the bees to that. Add 2 frames to complete this. And then we'll be done. So that's the plan. I got to get my smoker going, and then it will be time. Here's our bees. They're all basically on 2 frames here. We'll lift them out. Well, not as many bees as I thought. Dump the rest on top. Okay, that's the plan. All right, that is it. We are done. The hive's all set up. Now, there were not as many bees in that thing as I even thought. So I'm glad I went with a 5 frame. You're never quite sure, you know, you suction all these bees and you can tell I waited a little late. See, they're all attacking me. If I had done it slightly earlier, I think they would home in on where the new home is, but since we got here after dark, you know, once they figure out they want to attack me, it's kind of hard to go home because they don't even know where home is. This is a new spot. So tomorrow this time, they'll be good. They'll be set up. They'll know where they're supposed to go. But for right now, a little confused. It is day 2. I'm in my bee suit again. This is our cleanup. We got a light down in there. So we already cleared this hole out. And it's about, I'd say 6 inches deep. 5 inches wide. Maybe 8 inches deep. Anyway, as you can see, there's bees still coming to the light. And I have cleared the whole thing. Let me see if I can show you. Cleared the whole area. But in the far corner, they are going up here. So if they've made a hole or have an access up, they could have filled this area. So I'm about done cutting it open, and we'll see what's in there. And then you and I will see what we've got to do next. I've got the bee vac ready in case we have enough to justify saving them. Nope. I just made a mess for no reason. Look at that. So this is the lower area where we got most of the bees out of already. But then underneath and back in here, we were getting bees coming down from above. So what I did was I opened up this wall. So you can kind of see we got a wall here. I opened it up, and then I opened up the side and the back, and finally found the bees. You can kind of see the bees hanging under there. And we're going to suck them out of there. Hopefully that will be the end of the hive. All right, it is day 3. In my son's room, we are trying to get these bees out of here. Yesterday was a tough day. I worked 4.5 hours. I thought I might get it done yesterday, but at the end of 4.5 hours, they were still coming. I'm greeted by a now this is not enough bees to make a hive, but this is a lot of bees. More over here and up there. And they are younger bees. Less mature bees are crawling on the floor. They're not flight ready yet. So there's obviously some comb, and there are lots of mature bees somewhere in this wall over here. So I get to put my suit back on and tear out some more wall, try to figure out where these guys are coming from. I still don't know exactly where the rest of the comb is because the cavity I started in is clear. The cavity I found is clear beyond that. So there must be another chunk in the wall somewhere. So we've opened the next cavity here. Got a light down in there. So there's just a small cluster of bees, so I went ahead and vacuumed those out. So I sealed up the concrete. Actually 2 days ago I sealed up the concrete. Went ahead and finished putting everything back in. Took a while to clean up, but we got everything put back. Of course, this duct tape is not official, but for now that keeps the bees out of this room. And the floor actually went back in pretty well. Have a few bees still coming out here and there, but I believe we're done with it. And so that'll mark the end of this video. And thanks for watching, and please subscribe.